Welcome back to Perkins Pipes. Got the bent Prince that I made filled with Prince Albert. The reason is because of the word Prince. Let's get this guy lit. Let's get to talking. I was going to start this video off by saying this video may be the biggest waste of my time to make and the biggest waste of your time to watch. Now you got to say, why on earth would a guy introduce a video that he obviously wants us to watch like that? Well, I'll tell you why. There's no way I can do justice to this particular topic. Not in one video, not in a series of videos. It'd probably take a semester's worth of lectures at the collegiate level to really get to the bottom of this particular topic. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the nominated for 12 Academy Awards film from 1964, Becket, starring Richard Burton and Peter O'Toole, along with, I should add, John Gielgud and others. This is, oh my goodness, justifiably the one of the greatest films of all time. And you say, well, what in the world does that got to do with Prince Pipe and Prince Albert Tobacco? The character Becket back here, this is Richard Burton as Becket, continually refers to King Henry as my prince. Now, some of you may be familiar with the story. I'll give you a quick rundown on it. The film itself is based on the play Becket by Jean Anouilh and done into a film, like I say, in 1964. And rather than read you the background or the back of the CD, or the DVD box here, let me walk you through what this is about. And by the way, among the 12 Academy Awards, it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor Peter O'Toole, Best Actor Richard Burton, Best Supporting Actor John Gielgud, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Adapted Screenplay. Folks, this one is an absolute treasure of a film. So here's the story. Peter O'Toole plays King Henry II. After the Norman conquest of England. And Henry is a youngish king at this point. A role, by the way, that Peter O'Toole reprises in a later film, playing Henry later in life, in the exquisite and just, the dialogue is just biting and cutting film, The Lion in Winter, in which Katharine Hepburn plays his queen. But in this film and play, Henry is younger. His children are all young. At one point, he growls and snaps at his wife, and he says, "I don't like my children." Becket, Thomas Becket, is King Henry's good time pal. They go out drinking and wenching together. Now, yes, Henry is married, but that doesn't really seem to make much difference. So Henry and Becket they're party guys, right? They like to go out, have a good time with the wine and with the women. Now, because Becket's his good time pal, Henry makes him Lord Chancellor of England. Gives him the ring with the lions on it. So now Becket is his chief advisor. Henry has a conflict with the church. And by the way, this is not the Church of England. This is still the Catholic Church. Haven't had the break yet. That comes much, much, much later in history. And Henry has conflict with the church. He ultimately wants control of the church, or rather he wants the church to do his bidding. When the Archbishop of Canterbury dies, suddenly Henry has a stroke of genius. He's going to promote his friend, or rather he's going to bully the church into making his friend, Becket, the new archbishop. And now, with Henry's man as the Archbishop of Canterbury, he's got all the power that he wants. Well, he mentions this idea to Becket, and Becket's first response is to laugh. He's like, you must be joking, my prince. And Henry says, no, I'm deadly serious. And all of a sudden, Becket says, do not do this thing, my prince. This is a bad move. And he says, why? You're loyal to me. Now I will have control over Canterbury and the church, the Catholic Church in England. And so he gets it done. Becket is made a priest and immediately then ordained as Archbishop of Canterbury. And now we've introduced a new twist into their relationship. Henry is assuming that he can still use Becket the way he has before. And Becket more or less assumes that's going to be the way things go as well. But in his new role as priest and archbishop, Becket discovers something that he has never known before. As he puts it, the honor of God. He discovers the honor of God. And he realizes he has a higher calling now than just to his earthly prince. And there's some other intrigue that goes along. I won't get into all of that. Please, you've got to go find this film and watch this film. There's some other intrigue involving a woman, and we're not going to get into that. But one of Henry's noblemen, one of Becket's priests, one of the priests there in England, is found guilty of debauching a young girl. Well, the question is, who has to try this thing? Is this an ecclesiastical matter? Is it a state matter? Well, Becket says this is religious. He says the ecclesiastical court has to take care of this. Well, one of Henry's noblemen then kills this priest. Well, now Becket says that guy, this nobleman, is going to be excommunicated from the church. Well, now Henry's angry. He says, you can't do that. You can't do that to one of my noblemen. And Becket says, this is the responsibility you have introduced me to. Don't you understand? By making me Archbishop of Canterbury, now I report to a higher authority. And so he excommunicates this lord of Henry's. Well, now Henry is really angry. And he's angry at Becket. And so now he puts out a warrant for Becket's arrest. and Becket flees to France. And for a while, he's under the protection of King Louis of France, who's played by John Gielgud. And eventually, there's a quasi-healing between Becket and Henry. And Becket comes back home to England. But still, there's pressure on the king to deal with Becket. How can King Henry remain king if this priest, if this archbishop can flout his will? So lots of state, church issues going on here. At one point, Henry is having a banquet. And he says his noblemen are around him, and he's so frustrated over this issue with Becket that he kind of cries out to no one in particular. He says, "Will no one rid me of this troublesome priest?" And his noblemen take this as a command, really, to go and murder Becket. Now, Henry's never said that. Henry never said, "I want you guys to go out and kill Becket." But the way he said it is reasonable enough interpretation. So the noblemen go out to do just that. Becket's about to celebrate Mass. Noblemen come to the door. They're armed. They're knights, right? They are in their armor. One of the priests says to Becket, says, "Should we lock the doors?" Becket says, "I've never known us to lock the doors when we celebrate Mass." And they're like, "But there's armed men at the door." He says, "Keep the doors open." So there's Becket. He's about to celebrate Mass. In come these armed noblemen, and they murder him. They murder him in the cathedral there at Canterbury. They murder him right at the altar. I won't tell you how it ends. I'm not going to tell you how the film ends. But that certainly is a dramatic point in the film and in the story. Now, what makes this so great? Three things. Three things make this a film that you must go and find it somewhere. I don't think you're going to find it on Netflix. You're going to have to search it out, maybe rent it on Amazon or something like that. Three things make this great. One, the actors. Peter O'Toole, Richard Burton, my friends, in 1964, it doesn't get any better than that. In terms of acting, people who know how to deliver their lines. People who know how to convey a range of emotion. These are actors at the height of their craft. That's one. Two, the writing, the dialogue. Oh, my friends, this has some of the finest dialogue in it. And this is why I say this is a waste of my time. Because if I could, what I would do is sit down and simply quote you the script. I just read you the script. The lines are absolutely magnificent. It's just... trying to think if there's one or two that I could just give you here. There's so much anger between Henry and his wife. She's teasing him. His mother teases him all the time about his friendship with Becket and says, now see what your friend is doing. Your friend is kind of, backstabbing you. And he rails against them. And he says, Becket has given me more love than I've ever known from you. Right, so just passionate, powerful lines. Fair amount of humor, too, especially in Sir John Gielgud's role as King Louis of France. There's a scene where Henry has sent some envoys over to France to try to get Becket back, and Becket is under the protection of King Louis. And so when it's announced that these messengers from Britain, including the Lord Bishop of London, are there, King Louis says, make them wait. Make them wait. I'll get to them when I'm ready. A couple days later, they come, and he says, "Oh, when did you arrive?" And they said, "Well, we've been here a few days." And Louis says, "Oh, you've been here a few days? Why was I not told about this?" Right, pretending that he didn't know that they were actually in his court. There's humor, there's passion. It's wonderful. Acting, writing. Perhaps the greatest thing, though, is the story of these two men. Men who are deep friends, but whose friendship is not built on something that will last. It's built on this, again, the good time relationship of the whining and wenching and all this kind of thing. And the conversion, really, of the one, the transformation of the one, of Becket, when he really comes to know God and who God really is. And again, his famous phrase, the honor of God. So much so that he now has a break with his former friend. And his former friend, King Henry, cannot handle it. And it's the painful rift. And you think about the words of Jesus. He says, people think I've come to bring peace. He says, look, I've come to bring a sword. He says, you follow me? My goodness. He said, friend's going to turn against friend, children against their parents, loved one against loved one. To follow Christ may often mean having to leave relationships, seeing relationships broken because of Christ. Yes, we hope that relationships will come back. We hope the relationships will heal. We hope that maybe somebody who comes to Christ will ultimately bring others along with him. But not always. Sometimes it ends in heartbreak. And the question is, on which side will you stand? So, it's a beautiful movie. My questions for you this time are simple. Do you know this movie? Do you know Becket? Have you ever seen it? Tell us what you think about it if you have. Do you know these actors? Richard Burton, Peter O'Toole, some other films of theirs that you really, really enjoy. Talk to us about those. Folks, this one is one where I really just wanted to introduce you to something that you may not be familiar with. So go out and check it if you can. As Malcolm Guite likes to say, I do these little things in order at last to do nothing. Or as I like to say in Latin, Parva ago ut tandem, nihil agam. Have a wonderful day.
There was a man who walked the earth, diesel and dust.